I didn't know that she contacted the or wait, did she? Hold on. I'm trying to think what she said in her interview. So it says newly obtained police records reveal authorities received a report of mistreatment from a juvenile in Jodi Hildebrandt's care in 2010. Yet the licensed mental health counselor continued to practice in Utah for years. According to records obtained by KSL, KSL investigators, through a public records request, Hildebrandt's juvenile niece went to American Fork Police in March 2010 seeking information about a safe house. The record adds that to others previously obtained by the KSL investigators that raised questions about whether authorities could have intervened sooner. They established police knowledge of allegations of mistreatment by Hildebrandt going back more than 13 years. Hildebrandt arrested on, it was August 30th when she was arrested. So she's arrested August 30th after, her business partner, children escape. Okay, so on March 9th, 2010, Hildebrandt's niece, who was 17 at the time, told police that their parents sent them to live with Hildebrandt. So this is from the police records. So she told police that, her parents sent them to live with, who's them now? Them to live with Hildebrandt in June 2009 because the parents were having problems with them. And Jodi is a licensed therapist who is counseling, one American Fork police report states. According to the report, the minor described Hildebrandt as mean and very strict, sharing examples, including claims that Hildebrandt forced the niece to sleep in a sleeping bag outside of Hildebrandt's home, only allowed them to shower for 7 minutes at a time, at one point placed duct tape over the minor's mouth to prevent the teen from talking, and limited their clothing. The teen shared that they had been wearing the same clothes for 3 weeks and were not enrolled in school. The juvenile also told police Hildebrandt called them a liar and said they were going to be a cheap hooker one day. Oh, that's her pronouns. That's right. I forgot. I was like, is there more than one person? Because them, but I forgot during her interview, she said her pronouns are they, them. So it is just her that they're talking about. That gets confusing. Because usually them is plural, But anyway, wait, where are we at? So Jodi tells freaking her niece she's going to be a cheap hooker one day. According to the report, when asked whether they were being physically abused, the juvenile said no. The teen couldn't explain some of Hildebrandt's reported actions, but said limiting their clothing and not enrolling them in school was Jodi's method of counseling. The report details failed attempts to get in contact with Hildebrandt. The report details failed attempts to get in contact with Hildebrandt. Then a conversation with the teen's father, who is Hildebrandt's brother. The father said the teen was in Utah being counseled by Hildebrandt and claimed contacting the police was a ploy to get out of going to a wilderness camp he wanted to send the teen to. As for being forced to sleep outside, the father told police that occurred one time, and this was a way to show blank, so the name. So it was a way to show her what it would be like to sleep outside, the report states. The report indicates police took the teen to Vantage Point, which is a home-like facility meant to be a safe place for teenagers, according to its website. I am requesting a copy of this report be forwarded to DCFS, the investigator wrote, documenting intent to involve Utah's Division of Child and Family Services. And save me, I'm trapped. 2 weeks later, on March 23rd, 2010, Hildebrandt reported to American Fork Police that her niece had run away from her custody. When asked why her niece might have run away, Hildebrandt told police she believed she ran away because she was going to be placed in a girl's home. They're trying to blame it on her. Oh, it's just a thing. She didn't want to go to this home. So she ran away because she was going to be placed in a girl's home and did not want to go to the girl's home. According to the report, the teen's mother told police this was the third time the teen had run away. The first time was on March 9th, according to the report. Police later learned that the teen had sent a message to a friend that same day. She wrote, "Dude, save me, I'm trapped," the police report states. On April 28th, 2010, police learned the teen had been staying at a local shelter. When they showed up and told the juvenile they were there to take them back to their parents, Blank was very surprised at being located and was visibly upset. She was crying and shaking and looking around as if with the intent to run, police wrote. Wow. Arrangements were made for the teen to stay with grandparents in Linden, according to the report, while they waited for the teen's grandparents to arrive. The teen told police they ran away from Hildebrandt because she made them confess their sins and tried to break them down. Blank said Jodi is some kind of therapist and thinks she has all the answers, but Jodi insults me all the time in front of others and acts like I am evil by not letting me talk to her kids or others, the report states. The teen told police they were looking into California law concerning emancipation. I spoke to blank about being a juvenile and that parents are the ones in charge until you reach that magic age of 18 and can legally be on your own. So the cop is telling her about, you're a juvenile, the parents are the ones in charge of you until you reach that magic age of 18 and can be legally on your own. We didn't send it. American Fork Police Chief Cameron Paul told the KSL investigators Thursday that after reviewing department's records, he found no documentation that the report was sent to DCFS as intended. Wow, that's messed up. Wait, the police chief. Wow. I'm going to own it. If we didn't send it, we didn't send it, Paul said. And so there's a small possibility we did, but again, I have no record of it. And we've looked at some other lists that should have something, and I don't see it. So I'm thinking that it never got disseminated to DCFS. As someone who has previously investigated CA, Paul noted that some details in the report stood out to him, including the teen was asked whether they were being physically abused and said no. It's hard when these disciplinary things happen, like duct tape or, sleeping outside. That's situational, he said. And so I personally would have asked more questions to try and figure out some different things. I'd like to say now that we would have, but at the time, I do understand why this was closed out, where she alleged that there was no physical abuse happening in the home. Paul said the officers involved no longer work for the department. I think we could have dug a little bit more into what was going on, and perhaps the officer did that, and it's just not documented. It's not documented well in the report, and that detail is not there, Paul said. But whether it's through the report or the actions of the officer, yes, I do wish we would have taken the time to dive in a little bit further into the case. Unprofessional conduct. According to the state licensing records, Hildebrandt was first licensed as a professional counselor in Utah in 2005. In 2012, Hildebrandt's license was subject to disciplinary action, and she was placed on an 18-month probationary period after admitting to unprofessional conduct. A stipulation agreement provided to the KSL investigators by Utah Divisions of Professional Licensing states that on multiple occasions, Hildebrandt discussed private information about a married couple she was counseling to their clergy and two other mental health therapists. The document also states Hildebrandt disclosed confidential information about the husband, including a medical diagnosis, to administrators at a university in Utah. A spokesperson told KSL investigators that DOPL is seeking to take appropriate action on Hildebrandt's license, which is still active. Okay. State licensing officials do not want her counseling anyone and believe immediate action is necessary. Okay, cool, because we were just talking about that earlier, like wonder if they're going to wait to see how it turns out, or okay. Due to heinous nature of the charges, Utah Department of Commerce Communications Director Melanie Hall said. So this says they're going to take immediate action as necessary. So I'm glad they are going to take immediate action because she's dangerous to be out there giving people therapy, people like holding her up, trusting what she says and that she knows better on certain things. And so, yeah, that's dangerous. So I'm glad they're not going to wait till, the verdict to look into it and try to take immediate action as far as her license. Because what if let's say they get out on bail or whatever? You don't want her practicing, damaging anybody else's lives. So I'm glad they're going to look into it and try to do something. And like I said, I'm glad that, they said the state licensing officials do not want her counseling. It says do not want her counseling anyone. Okay, back to the article. The KSL investigators first reported a history of visits to the Frankie family home in Springville by law enforcement and child welfare workers in 2022. Records reveal Springville police visited Frankie's home 15 times between March 2019 and August 31st, 2023. During at least 5 of those visits, police were assisting DCFS. Well, I didn't realize it was that many times. 15 times, and 5 of them, they were assisting DCFS. Wow. Huh. So, in response to questions from the KSL investigators, DCFS spokesperson Miranda Fisher released a statement on September 6th saying, in part, due to confidentiality and privacy of the children and families we work with, DCFS cannot share information on a case, either past and present, or confirm involvement with a child or family. Fisher's statement did not address a question from KSL investigators about whether the agency is reviewing its prior involvements with the family to determine whether policies and best practices were followed. DCFS declined to participate in an interview. 2 days later, Fisher sent out a news release stating in part, DCFS affirms recent law enforcement reports of our involvement in the Frankie case. However, in order to protect the integrity of the necessary working relationships with those we serve and to respect the privacy of children and families, DCFS will continue its practice and refrain from sharing specific information on a case, past or present.
I'm begging you to be kind, be kind, be kind. Oh, you gotta see your